All right, let's add some content to our page, to our website. So we'll go here where it says manage and we'll go to site pages, click on add. We're going to add some pages. So I'm going to call this about, and then this is where you would put maybe some information. There are lots of things that you can add, and they keep changing this. You can add media, you can add stuff from Google, from photo library, contact form, which is really easy to do. You can also choose between different types of headings. And then the usual kind of text editor sort of thing, bold, you can add a link, and so on and so forth. What we're editing is called the visual tab. And if you went to the HTML, you would see, well, this is quite straightforward, but you would see something that looks more like HTML. And that's essentially what WordPress is doing. It's creating the HTML code for you. So it is possible, if you are familiar with HTML, to then go and edit that code later. So under status, you can choose to publish immediately. You can choose a date. So you can have the page show up at a certain time if it's a certain kind of a post that you want to do. And here you have some options, whether to make it public, password protected, accessible only to admins. You can add a featured image. And we'll come back to this, to the order and to this stuff later on when we create subpages. But for now, that's pretty much, you can have your like button, social media stuff, and that's just about it for that. Now, when you're done, click on publish. And what's going to happen now, it's going to ask you for confirmation. So what's going to happen now is we have an about. Actually, this is our page. Sorry, this is our page. Let's close out of this for a second. Now, this is the actual website. So as you can see, the page we created is not actually here. That's because we don't have a menu active. So let's do two different ways. So we'll go to customize again. And if you remember, there was a menu option here. So we'll go to menu, and we're going to, well, actually I already created one, but let's create a new one. Let me just delete this one. Hang on a second. Okay, so this is what you should have. You should just have primary menu. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new menu, and I'm just going to call it main. Now I'm going to call it, I'm going to click on this primary, and I'm going to go to next. And then still you don't see anything. That's because you have to decide what's actually going to be on the menu. So here, oh, evidently I have two pages that are called about, but let's just, I'm going to click on home. I want home, I want about, and I want contact. And so there it is. You see it right here already showing up. So that's one possibility. So if I click on publish, I now have a menu that shows up right here. And if I click on whichever one, it'll take me to that page. Now that's one possibility. But if you remember, we also had the possibility of using a widget as a menu. So that's what it was kind of slow. So here's my home page. If I click on about, it'll take me to about. Now there's all this default content here that, you know, once you begin to add content, all this stuff will disappear. And you could get rid of these anyway. But just before I forget, let's go back and let's uncheck primary menu. So now the menu does exist, but it is not on our main page. So we'll go back to widgets, and let's go ahead and get rid of the calendar, because I think this is way too cluttered. I'm actually going to get rid of the search, and I'm going to get rid of the calendar. And now I'm going to add widget to the side, and I will scroll down to where it says navigation menu. And then it's going to ask me, what do you want the title to be? I think you can just leave it blank. And then I'm going to go to main, because that's the menu that I created. And there's my little menu. So this is another possibility. Like if you have a pretty busy kind of section over here, and you don't want that and the menu before your content, you could just have the menu over here. this, remember, this is theme specific, okay? Because some themes might have this line on the other side or whatnot, but the options will more or less be the same. All right, so that's it for that.